Hi, it's Remy and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna share with you how to shoot the auroras in this beautiful place that are the Devil Teeth here in northern Norway on the Senja Island. It's just a wonderful place with a lot of opportunities. But before that, I just wanted to remind you that in case you want to learn more about landscape photography and see beautiful places in the world, then you can follow me by clicking on the subscribe button below. And in case you like this video, then leave me a thumbs up. That would be really amazing. So now let's talk about how to shoot the auroras. So it's not really as complicated as it seems, and I want to try to demystify a little bit of it. So the process is kind of breakdown into 3 steps. The first one will be scouting and composing. The second one will be forecasting, and the third one will be shooting. So we will talk about these 3 things in this video, and now let's get to it. The first step of shooting the auroras is scouting and composing. In this case, you want to make sure you plan in advance your shoot by coming on location during the day and looking at the possible composition you want to have during the night. Because otherwise, during the night, you won't see anything, you will be running everywhere, you will be looking for amazing composition that you may not find actually. And since you're likely also not to be alone if you're at great places, then it might be complicated to just turn on your headlamp or your light or whatever you have to enlighten you, so that because you will be bothering other people. So you want to make sure to know what you want to do during the day for the night. In this case, I am here shooting with what is planning with a 12mm Samyang f2.0. This is a lens that opens wide so that it lets enter a lot of light in to the sensor, and this is great for night photography. And I want to shoot with a wide angle so that I can capture very good foreground and very good sky as well. And in case you want to know more about how to shoot with a wide angle, then you can take a look at this video here where I explain how to shoot with a wide angle and how to compose with it. When you have everything in place, you want to be, first of all, sure to plan with the same lens as the one you will use during the night. And you want to make sure that when you're planning, you have sufficient sky and you have sufficient foreground. You are at the right distance so that you can capture as much of the whole scene as you want. And make sure to have sufficient sky, because while shooting the auroras, it's really what you want to emphasize, the beautiful sky that will be showing up in front of you. In this case, I notice a great composition, which is here. Basically, we have here on the foreground a beautiful stone. We have a small thread of kind of frozen water here, and then we have a small pond of water where there is kind of a slight reflection of the mountains that are here on the background. And that really make a great composition, and that will be amazing at night. So as you can see here on the screen, like somewhere here, this is my screen, and then you can clearly see what it would provide. And then you can, of course, then adjust your screen as you want and make sure that you have, as I said before, sufficient foreground, but also sufficient sky here so that everything looks perfect and will be perfect when you will come. I will look around and look for some few composition and maybe share 1 or 2 more with you. One other thing you want to do when you're composing here is make sure to shoot also the unobvious, to make sure that in case the auroras will not show on the beautiful mountains I was showing you before, maybe they will be showing up on another location, like a different way. And then you want to make sure to have a nice composition for that way. That way you will be ready for the night for any possible options that you might have. In case they show up everywhere, there is no problem. You can just play all around with all your compositions. But in case this is not like this, then at least you will be ready for other options. Make sure to be ready. Like, this is really important. You will save a lot of time and a lot of frustration. I am on the third spot that I noticed today, and this was actually on the way back to my motorhome. This is a small pond of water here, which is right now completely frozen, and it's facing beautiful mountains, and there is like reflection of some of the mountains that are around here, as you can see, I guess, here on the screen. And this is a beautiful one because first of all, it's kind of unusual, so that's fairly good. The other place is just amazing too, but here would be something slightly different. And so I'm gonna plan on shooting it either in portrait orientation and landscape orientation, in case there are a few auroras here. That would be amazing. I guess it's gonna be amazing. There's like a bit of stone, this pond of frozen water, and then the mountains on the background, and of course the sky. And I guess it's gonna make for a really great composition. So I guess that's pretty much it about the composition I was planning for tonight. And with that, I'm gonna share with you now how to forecast. So let's get back into the camper. Let's now talk about the aurora forecasting, because this is as important as the scouting and the shooting, and this will increase your viewing probability of the aurora. So for this, I am using two apps, a weather app and an aurora dedicated app. So the weather app is Windy. This is basically a weather app that gives you all kind of information about the weather, that's cloud coverage, precipitations, temperatures, and so on. And basically what you want to see is if in the location you are, if there are a lot of clouds in the sky, if the sky is overcast at night. So you will be able to verify this, and if the sky is not overcast, then you have great chances of being able to see, or at least greater chances to be able to see the auroras. Then the second app is Aurora. This is just the name Aurora, and basically this app will give you the viewing probabilities and the intensity of the auroras. The first thing, it will give you a KP index. The KP index gives you the intensity of the auroras. It goes from 0 to 9, 0 being you won't be able to see them, and 9, they are very intense and you can see them from very far away. Then on top of that, you have also an interactive map within the app that gives you the cloud coverage, which then you can also look alongside Windy to make sure that everything is aligned, and also some viewing probability. There are also more real-time or live information that can be useful, but in general I don't use them a lot, because if you are on location, then you just have to go outside and be able to see if there are auroras where you are. You have like also real-time information about solar winds that gives you intensity, the strength of the auroras. The truth is that it might help for some people, but to me, I never really used them. Didn't really help, because I find this information, like since they are real time, and if I'm on site, then I don't really need to know if I will be able to see strong auroras or not. It might help in some cases, but in general, it didn't so far for me. So I will not really spend a lot of time. It can be interesting to know how they work and how to understand them, but I don't really see this as a very strong indicator of what's happening at the moment in the sky, or what will happen even in half an hour. So far, it hasn't been useful for me. So this is how I am planning my, or at least I am forecasting my viewing of the aurora, and how I am increasing my probabilities here. So I put the link of those two apps and the name in the description below, so you can check it out if you want to. And now let's check out if I can see the aurora outside. Let's come with me and we're gonna check this out. You're probably not gonna see much because I need to turn off the light because I can't see anything. Sorry for that. There we go. one or two auroras. They are like not so intense for now. So I'm gonna turn on the light again. Here I am. And yeah, it is on. The game is on. I am in place for my first spot. That's a spot which is not directly at the Devil's Teeth, but it's a little bit before that, and that's the one I saw. And I was coming back to my motorhome actually. You've got like a small pot of water that has a beautiful view over the mountains and an amazing reflection because the water is standing still here. The first thing you want to do, of course, is to put your camera on your tripod. Then set your timer, or use a remote if you have a remote. Then in terms of parameters, what we want to do is to use like between 1 second and 8 seconds shutter speed. This is to have longer shutter speed than this will lead you to have star trail, and we want to avoid star trail, so we keep it at 8 seconds maximum. If the auroras are very intense, you don't want to go beyond like 4 or 5 seconds, depending on your ISO too. But in general, if they are really strong, you won't need more than 4 or 5 seconds. I already had the case and that was just perfect. In terms of ISO, you want to go between 1600 and 6400, maybe more if your camera allows more, but I don't think that you would ever need more than that. I'm using with my Fuji 3200 and I'm fairly happy with it. That works very well, and like going up to 6400 would lead me to have like really excessive noise. Since I don't do stacking afterwards, then noise stacking, I don't want to go too high in the ISO. And in terms of aperture, open as wide as you can and get, as I said before, a lens that opens very wide. Mine is f2.0, so I'm open at f2.0. And for the focusing, which is also a very important part, because if you don't have your picture in focus, it's going to be messed up. You want to set manual focus and focus on a star. So what you do is that you look at your viewfinder, or you look inside your viewer here on the camera, and you look at a star and you focus on the star. And when the star is pin sharp, then you can consider that you're good in focus, and everything that will come towards you will be in focus. You might have some close foreground that might not be in focus, then in this case you might want to rework on your foreground and focus on your foreground. Help yourself from your head lamp to see and focus on the foreground. That might be helpful at times. But in this particular case, my foreground is sufficiently far away so that I don't have to focus on it now. So I'm gonna shoot and let's see the fun. I'm gonna share with you right away the pictures, and I hope that you enjoy them. I reached my second point, which is like right in front of the Devil's Teeth. It's beautiful. It was like really beautiful, like about like 5-10 minutes ago. It was like a beautiful aurora right above it, and I found a very nice spot that I spotted during the day, so it was like really nice. Unfortunately, the activity tonight is not that strong, and so I won't really be able to do a time lapse. I guess it's slightly too late. I'm gonna wait, I guess, a little longer to see if the activity starts again and it gets a little stronger, but for now I don't have much hope. And anyways, the beautiful thing here is that the aurora was not really like doing a way towards the subject, but it was like really just covering it, and that made up for like a really nice feeling, because the Devil's Teeth are also kind of in an arc shape, kind of, so you already had the aurora right on top. It was pretty made up, like like really nice pictures. And on top of that, the foreground was like himself really like diving into the picture. We really have the leading lines over a small body of water which is here standing still, and that really lead your eyes towards the devotees with a little bit of reflection on top of that. So just made for a beautiful picture. I guess that's probably my best photograph of a aurora, so I really like it. At least on the camera it looked really good. Right, I'm gonna wait a little longer and see if there will be any further aurora, and then I can shoot my time lapse. So I'm finally trying to do a time lapse, so I hope it's gonna be well. There is like a nice aurora that crosses all over, and I'm capturing one part which is also slightly above the mountains. And so basically what I'm doing here, I'm doing 350 shots of 5 seconds at ISO 6400. The reason I increased the ISO compared to what I was saying before is because I want to shoot slightly faster. I don't want to wait 2 hours for my time lapse to finish. Therefore, by doing this, instead of shooting at 8 seconds, I'm shooting at 5 seconds. It means that I'm doing more pictures in less time. We will see the result. I guess it's gonna be a little bit noisy. I mean, I'm shooting with Fuji. It's not that it's a bad camera for night photography, but it's the fact that since it's an APS-C, the sensor is smaller and therefore it gets noisier than a wider sensor like a full frame sensor. So it's a little bit more tricky, but I guess for a time lapse it's gonna be fine. And anyways, it's part of the fun, so I'm just enjoying in the end, and that's the most important thing here. And I'm teaching you and I'm giving you some tricks, and that's also the most important, no matter the camera you're using. So I'm waiting now, and I'm gonna try to use some other lens on the camera I'm filming with to see if I can do anything fun while waiting. I'm finally back in my motorhome. I can't state enough how good this evening was. I took amazing photographs and it was like just perfect conditions. I truly hope that you guys learned something. This is the goal of my videos, so that you guys learn something and next time you go out you do better pictures than the previous time you went. And I wanted to share with you a last photograph I took this evening that was just wonderful. It's a panorama and you can basically see two auroras one over the other over the Devil's Teeth. You can see the moon, you can see Mars at the bottom, which is reflecting on the water, which is amazing, and cherry on the cake, you can slightly see the Milky Way on top of the auroras, and this is just delightful. I wasn't expecting to get this photograph, but that's just wonderful and amazing. So that's pretty much it. I'm happy that I shared all of this with you. This was a wonderful experience. And with that, I wish you good luck with your photography and see you next week for new adventures.